It's one thing to celebrate the moment you find earthworms wriggling through your raised bed. It's a whole different game to keep them happy, thriving, and actively working for your soil. Earthworms are nature's underground laborers, turning decaying matter into rich humus, aerating the soil, and improving water retention. But just because they show up doesn't mean they'll stick around. A healthy raised bed might attract a few, but if the environment isn't right, they'll either leave or simply go dormant. If you want to turn your garden into a permanent worm haven, you need to create the conditions that make them feel at home. Worms are incredibly sensitive creatures. They breathe through their skin, which means they rely on a moist, dark, and aerated environment to survive. The moment your raised bed dries out, becomes compacted, or lacks food, they'll start looking for a better place, or worse, die off. Many gardeners assume that tossing in some worms is enough. But the truth is, keeping them active and productive requires consistent attention to the microenvironment you're building beneath the mulch. Start by managing the moisture level of your soil. Earthworms can't breathe in dry conditions, nor can they survive in saturated soil that lacks oxygen. Aim for that ideal in-between texture, damp like a wrung-out sponge. This keeps their skin moist and their tunnels breathable. In dry or hot weather, a thick layer of organic mulch, such as straw, shredded leaves, or partially finished compost, helps regulate moisture and temperature. This top layer mimics the forest floor where earthworms naturally thrive, offering shade, insulation, and food all in one. Food is another critical factor. Earthworms aren't just living in your soil, they're working in it. And like any worker, they need fuel. That means a steady supply of decomposable organic matter. In a raised bed, you can deliver this through regular applications of compost, leaf mold, and even small amounts of well-chopped kitchen scraps. Avoid adding anything too acidic or oily and steer clear of meat or dairy. Earthworms especially love materials like banana peels, coffee grounds, melon rinds, and finely shredded greens. The key is to bury small bits under mulch or soil to avoid attracting pests while keeping the worms happily fed. The structure of your raised bed also affects worm health. Compacted soil, especially in beds walked on or watered heavily without aeration, can suffocate worms and disrupt their burrowing behavior. A well-aerated, loose soil structure allows them to move freely, create tunnels, and cycle nutrients. Fluffing the top few inches of soil gently, without deep tilling, can help maintain the conditions they need. Even better, layer compost and mulch on the surface and let the worms do the digging. As they move through your bed, they naturally till the soil in a way that never disturbs the underground microbial balance. If you're looking to give your worms an even more controlled environment within your garden, consider installing a mini in-bed worm bin. These small bottomless containers can sit right in the middle of your raised bed, filled with moist bedding materials like shredded newspaper, coconut coir, or aged compost. You can drop small kitchen scraps into this bin weekly, and the worms will come and go from it freely, enriching the surrounding soil as they feed. Think of it as a worm cafe in the middle of your garden. Temperature is another often overlooked piece of the puzzle. Earthworms don't tolerate extremes. In hot climates, soil temperatures can soar, especially in raised beds with shallow soil and full sun exposure. Adding a thick mulch layer, shading the beds during the hottest part of the day, or even watering in the early morning to cool the soil, can help keep the underground temperature in the ideal range of 55 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, or 13 to 24 degrees Celsius. In colder regions, a deep mulch cover during fall and winter offers insulation and encourages worms to stay active for longer, even when temperatures drop. So, monitoring your raised bed routinely is essential if you want to maintain a worm-friendly zone. You should check for signs that the bed is too wet, too dry, or maybe lacking organic matter. Also, watch how quickly your mulch breaks down. If it disappears fast, the worms and microbes are working well, but they'll need more material soon. Lift a bit of mulch now and then to check on worm activity. And seeing worm castings, those small piles of soil-like pellets, is a great sign your underground workers are doing their job. So, just be careful not to disturb them too often. Unlike traditional gardening that involves turning over the soil, no-till or low-disturbance practices are best for maintaining healthy worm populations. The more you dig, the more you disrupt their tunnels, and honestly, all the work they do. Instead, you want to treat your raised bed like a composting ecosystem, always feeding from the top, keeping things moist, and just letting biology handle the rest. Lastly, you'll want to think of the long-term health of your garden. The longer your raised bed remains undisturbed, the more stable the worm populations will become. With each passing season, your soil structure gets better, your microbial diversity deepens, and your plant roots really benefit from the continuous aeration and nutrient cycling. Earthworms aren't just visitors, they're vital team members in your garden. Your job is to make sure they feel valued enough to stick around. If you've made it this far, chances are you're serious about building a garden that thrives from the ground up. At Hydrohaven, we really believe earthworms are one of the most underrated allies you'll ever have in your raised bed. Give them the right environment, moisture, food, air, and protection, and they'll reward you with healthy plants, fertile soil, and long-term garden success. If you found this guide helpful, go ahead and subscribe to Hydrohaven and share this video with your gardening friends. Let's spread the word about how to build living soil, one worm at a time.